And so I'm just going to start things off by telling you where we began, and then I'm going to turn things over to our really large team that we have working on this project this semester. Okay, so we had a meeting. We started quite late actually this semester. When was our first meeting? It was like in October. In October. Okay, so we didn't really get a fast start in the semester. And basically I called for a meeting to see who might be interested in working on a new game. I think there were 11 people or so who showed up. And what I did was, talk a little bit about the last project we built, which was the Victorinator last year, and provided two sets of basic constraints to inform what this year's project would be. And those constraints were, one idea was to reuse some of the code, especially the audio and gesture code that we had, and that partly had been provided for us by Pierre-Alexandre Fournier, and also by Michael Fortin, who's here. Michael, from our last game. So possibly repurposing code was one of the things we were thinking of doing. And the other two were, it had to be a voice game in some way or other. At the bottom of the branding is Ludic Voice, so that's the name of the actual team that's working on this project. And I was interested in developing for the iPad this time instead of for the iPhone, so that was another constraint. And the initial idea, or the two sort of game ideas that I presented was, one, doing some kind of game around a digital interface based on circuit bending. Okay, so basically something tactile, but where you would input voice and then start bending voice. And so Voice Bender was the name of that game that we didn't make, right? And the other idea was to do essentially a kind of platform game in one way or another using voice input. So those were the two things that I threw through the wolves sitting at the table, saying, think about this. We brainstormed a little bit, and within about a half hour, those two ideas converged into one game idea. And then we called a meeting for about a week later. Whoever was interested in continuing coming back, we expected maybe 2 or 3 people to show up. But there were, I think, 9 who came back. And so that's we had a very large team. Essentially, things were turned over to the group at that point. And the main constraints of there being a voice input that became a kind of tangible object on the screen remains. But what it is about to become, or what it's in the process of becoming, I will allow the team to describe. Okay? So
thank you, Jason.
This is Jean-François.
I am Jean-François. Let's begin by showing you a teaser that's going to give you a little taste of what is to come for Ludic Voice, Tag, and Ethereal. So that's a teaser for Ethereal. So this really gives an idea of what the game is about. It's about this ethereal zone, this ethereal area where the player is going to make discoveries and is going to interact. So like Jason said, our main objective at the beginning was to create a voice-activated platform game. So we juggled with the idea in the beginning of having like circuit bending options in it, but really when we developed the design of the game, it didn't really fit into it. So you see where it is headed now.